And now we come to our last ones, which are our 2 computer games.
Well, video game.
Well, computer video games.
Yeah.
And one of these I haven't really played. It's just not my sort of thing.
Okay,
but Claire
it's me going
loves it so much. So Claire, why don't you take it away?
I am going to talk about my very, very subjective best game ever, which I can clock hands down in 3 hours flat, and I will play it again and again. I've lost track of how many times.
I wonder what the record is for it, actually.
Probably a lot faster than me. I dick around while I play it because I just love it so much. I love the mechanics. I love the aesthetic.
So what is this game?
The game is Tomba, or as it's known in some countries, Tomba, where you are this little dude with pink hair and you store your inventory in your stomach and you jump around wrestling evil pigs, and the world is all it's done by, I think the name was Whoopee Camp, and I believe it's a Japanese company. There is a bit of sort of an anime style to the art. It's a PlayStation 1 game from the 90s, and I just love it.
It's a platformer, right?
It is a platformer. It's 2D, though there's some sort of environments that are rendered in 3D.
Well, this was back in 1997, so it's a fairly old game.
It's so old, but I love it. Many people will remember it from, like, because back in the PlayStation 1 era, people used to get demo discs with, like, games that they bought, with consoles that they bought, and it was on a lot of demo discs. I used to dream in Tomba when I was a kid. It basically inspired me to be a video game designer, and one day I'm going to do my platformer game that is like the spiritual successor to it, because I just love this game so much and I want to play it now.
So when I was doing some research for all of these, I found that Tomba wasn't actually a huge financial success at the time, but it's become a cult classic. It's fondly remembered by lots of people. There's
a Tomba fan club on Twitter, and they are super active for a game that is 23 years old and pretty much dead.
There's a Tomba 2, but it wasn't as successful.
It's not as fun to me. Like, it's still fun, but it's just not as cute, and the cutscenes take, like, way too long. Not the cutscenes, but when you talk to people. Whereas just Tomba 1 is just so smooth, and it feels like a much more sort of integrated experience.
Polished.
I don't know if it's polished. A lot of people love Tomba 2 more, but for me, Tomba 1 is where it's at. Less reliance on mini games. I personally don't like it when games rely on mini games to sell themselves, especially racing games. I don't know why. I don't want to get into, like, a gendered sort of analysis.
What, a thing where you play a game and it's got a racing game hidden inside it?
Yeah, so Tomba
I'm going to be really interested in your reactions to Knights of the Old Republic then, Claire.
Oh, God. Well, okay, but here's the thing. I love chocobo racing in Final Fantasy VII. But in Tomba 1, there's one racing game where I'm sort of ambivalent about it. In Tomba 2, there's at least 2, and I hate them both.
In Knights of the Old Republic, you have to do the introductory level.
Right.
And then after that, it's just an completely optional side plot.
Shout out for another mini game. Actually, you know what? Some people might be like, why aren't you talking about Final Fantasy in your favourite slot, Claire? But it's like, you know what? Like, I have a difficult... I have ups and downs with Final Fantasy.
And maybe this is something for another video at another time as well.
And you know what? I'll go into the mini games then. But, like, Final Fantasy often has really cool mini games. But I'll get into that later. Oh, and I can get into, like, when mini games go horribly wrong. But I'm not going to talk anymore.
But that's all for a later one.
We need to get on. So
and our last one is one of my great favourites.
And mine too.
And Claire's as well. I introduced it to Claire, and it's... And it is Heroes of Might and Magic 3,
whoop, whoop,
which is from 1999. During the time when real-time strategy was taking over, this is a turn-based strategy role-playing game. You get your heroes, you level up your heroes, they learn all sorts of fun skills, they travel around the map,
with their armies,
building up an army, they fight turn-based battles against things that they encounter on the map, and against the other heroes.
We are going to have to play this on our charity stream.
Oh, absolutely.
By the way, we're doing a charity stream on the 12th and 13th of November.
Yes. And so this is to raise money for...
Gaming for Charity, and our charity is Heart Kids.
So that's for children with heart conditions and their families.
Go to Gaming for Charity.
We're going to be doing a 24-hour gaming marathon.
We're going to do it all in one. And we're going to go to gamingforcharity.nz/skybeargames to go and back us. Please, for the children.
And if you do back us, feel free to recommend a game that we should play.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're not going to play one for the whole 24
Yeah,
hours.
we've decided we're going to play a number of different games, and we'll announce our schedule closer to the time.
Yeah.
But we are keen to hear what games you would like us to play.
So yeah, I'm super keen to play Heroes 3.
Yeah, so some of the reasons why Heroes 3 is so great. There are 8 different factions that you can play, each of which has its own different play style. The general mechanics of the game where you're fighting in the combats, you can train up your hero to become a fighting hero, a might hero, or a magic hero, and there's a nice, robust magic system with lots of different spells that you can choose from. Or you can become a hybrid and become good at both. There's a sort of scissors, paper, rock to the balance between your melee troops and your flying troops and your shooters. But there's so much different variety with each of the different factions having 7 different troop types, all of whom can be upgraded with
dragons.
That there's a lot of different interplay between those, and especially once you start using multiple towns for your faction.
I love exploring.
My favourite thing is just exploring.
Yeah.
And the reason why I like Heroes 3 the most over, say, Heroes 5, which is basically the same game, but
in 3D.
Slicker graphics in 3D. But the reason why I like Heroes 3 the most is because every time you travel somewhere, you get this little story about how your hero has just encountered a witch who trains them in a different skill, or how your hero discovers leprechauns, or...
And if you build a custom map, you can put a story in it.
And Heroes 3 really supports custom maps, and...
All the heroes do.
All of them do,
There's a huge fan... Actually, that's a very common line between all of our games that we've said. Is like a big fan base online that will, like, put out custom stuff.
Material for it. Pendragon has its own spin-off games with based on Charlemagne, and soon there's going to be one on ancient Bronze Age Greece.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Cool.
Called, I hear, Myrmidon.
Oh, cool.
A little disappointed that they're not keeping the P theme. And I've also heard rumours about a feudal Japan game, which would be so cool.
That would be epic.
Anyway, yes.
And I get the feeling that they would do their cultural research correct.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're well known for doing their cultural research.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. But sorry, Heroes 3.
Heroes 3, yes. So yeah, there's a huge community online, and you can find lots of maps. So if you're desperate to play in a map based on, say, Lord of the Rings, then you can. Or there's wonderful homemade levels like I believe it's called Golden Heart, which has an incredibly intricate story that you follow along with. The built-in campaigns are engaging and give you a huge range of things to do. It is just a really wonderful game.
There are some incredible fan-made things out there. I think it was Heroes 5. We played this massive one, which was so intricate. It was like a huge maze. And you had to get keys from different parts of the map.
Yeah.
And
all of the Heroes games are good, except Heroes 4. But for our money, Heroes 3 is just the gold standard.
Absolutely. All right, that's 30 minutes. I think we better leave it there.
Yes.
We better get onto our live stream,
which we will be starting very shortly.
Whoop whoop. Well, not for these guys, because that's...
For you listening, we'll already have done it. But for us, here...
It's the future. Ooh. Time travel shenanigans. All right, we will be back... exhausted, dried out husks after Armageddon. Our next podcast episode will probably actually be a lot of content from Armageddon. We're going to take our microphone with us. And
we'll see how much we can record. Otherwise, it will be our retrospective.
Yeah.
And maybe we will summarise the results of the campaign that we're running at Armageddon.
Yeah.
So make sure to come and see us at Armageddon, take part in our game.
Yeah.
It's going to be epic if I ever... actually write the thing.
Come like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Discord, everywhere.
And keep gaming.